Hey, Center Point friends and family, we are glad that you joined us again for our confidence course, which we are just talking about all kinds of different evidences for our faith. And Bob Perry, longtime Center Point member, and with many, just an extensive background and a resume full of all kinds of stuff. But in all honesty, you do have background in apologetics, and we're really grateful that you've taken your both experience and your skills and your education and offered it to us to learn a little bit more so that we can have confidence in what we believe. So thanks for being here with us, brother.
My pleasure.
Today, we have gone through a series of different arguments for the existence of God. This one is our last one, which is a philosophical argument, which really starts to scratch my itch. I love the moral. The scientific stuff is probably a little bit above my pay grade, but this is where I started loving the moral and the philosophical stuff. But I'll leave it to you. Tell us a little bit more about this argument for the existence of God.
Okay. Philosophical argument, it's actually a family of arguments. We're just going to talk about a couple today. But
cool.
One thing that I have learned over the years is about Christians in the church is that some ministers teach that you can't really deal in philosophy. That's a worldly thing. Yeah. That's what people of the world do. We're Bible based, whatever. But listen, the word philosophy is two Greek words jammed together. Phila, which is love, like brotherly love, the city of Philadelphia. That's what it was named for. And Sophia, which is wisdom. So philosophy is the love of wisdom. So I defy anybody to go in the Bible and make an argument that the Bible doesn't think we should be lovers of wisdom.
Yeah, that's true.
Paul does talk about not doing bad philosophy.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So there is.
Paul is a philosopher, no doubt about it.
This dude was trained in philosophy.
And all the world philosophies.
Right. Yeah. He used it against the worldly philosophers in Athens in Acts 17. This guy was well trained in philosophy. He knew it inside and out. He knew it better than his opponents did. So my thing is, we should all be philosophers. We should all be lovers of wisdom.
Yeah.
And that to me is part of the Christian. What it means to be a Christian is to think clearly about these things.
And really is the motive behind doing these videos.
Right.
So that all of us can be a little bit more equipped and wise about our worldview.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's another beauty of the philosophical arguments is that a lot of us like to rely. I always love to rely on the scientific arguments because I love science.
Yeah.
But science can change. Up until the early 1900s, as I said in an earlier video, the universe was static and eternal is what everybody thought. Right. And we found out that was wrong. So science can change. I don't see the science we were using to make these arguments for God changing it anytime soon.
Yeah, right.
But philosophical arguments don't change. They're based on reason and logic and rationality to get to a certain point.
Yes.
And so the beauty of it was Stoic philosophers who John was referring to in John 1 when he said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That word logos was a philosophical word that Stoic philosophers use. And he was saying, this logos that you're talking about, I know I met the guy. It's a person.
Yeah.
The truth is a person.
Jesus Christ. Which is crazy to really think about, but it's exactly what Jesus said.
Right.
Yeah, that I am the truth.
Right.
So
I'm with you. I love the philosophical arguments.
Yeah, you're going to have to hold me back on this one.
Okay. Yeah. They're so powerful because there's no getting around them. There's a guy named Ed Feser, Feser, who just wrote a book, came out in the last year or two. It's called 5 Proofs for the Existence of God. And he goes back and uses these old philosophical arguments. And what he says is these are knockdown arguments. These are, you can't refute this.
Right.
So this is powerful stuff.
Yeah, right.
And the two, they're kind of go together, but they're Aristotelian. Aristotle came up with this idea of an unmoved mover. That's who we call God.
Right.
And so what do we mean by unmoved mover? Well, in philosophy, movement is not, we think of it as you throw a ball and it goes through the air, that's movement. Yes, it is. Yeah. But to a philosopher, movement is change.
Yeah.
So the ball is changing position.
Right.
But there's other the world around us is constantly changing. And just to give an example, and this is the key to the argument, is that you have actual things that have a potential to turn into something else.
Yes.
So you have an ice cube. It's
Yep.
an actual ice cube. It has the potential to become a puddle of water.
Right.
Now,
Or a seed that has the potential
to become a tree.
Yeah,
right. But it keeps going. That puddle of water has the potential to evaporate and become a cloud. And that cloud is an actual cloud that has the potential to rain and go into a river, and on and on and on it goes.
Yeah.
So the world is constantly changing. And what Aristotle said was, for that motion to begin, it has to start with something that is purely actual.
Yeah.
It doesn't rely on any potential. Nothing makes it come into existence.
Right.
It is the original actual thing.
Right.
And that's what we call God.
Wow.
So that's one form of the argument, what he calls the unmoved mover. There's no motion in God.
Right.
He creates all motion. So that's one way of looking at it. But there's another way of that's kind of a linear way to think of things happening, or relying on each other.
Right.
But the other way is a hierarchical reliance, which is actually really easy to understand if you think about it. This piece of paper is sitting on this table, and this table is sitting on this floor, and this floor is on the ground in Westchester, Ohio,
Right.
and this earth is in space somehow. Gravity is, and you keep going down to a
Right.
point where something is sustaining all of this.
Yeah.
Something is holding all this up, at all times,
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah, consistently. Right.
That's God. So the unmoved mover and this power or force that sustains the entire universe at all times is what the Greek philosophers were getting at. In fact, Socrates reasoned his way to the idea that there had to be a single monotheistic God. That's what got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he was going against the prevailing
Right.
culture that
It was
said there were
heresy.
all these crazy gods.
Yeah.
He said, I think there's just one. So these are powerful arguments. And
I love that you call them crazy guys.
yeah, that's right.
Watch it.
Look out for lightning bolts.
Exactly.
So that's just a couple examples of philosophical arguments. There's several others that get a lot more complicated that I'd have trouble trying to understand or explain them to someone else.
Yeah.
But these are knockdown arguments.
And there's so many philosophers out there, so much material to read and that sort of thing, and they can get tricky.
Yeah.
It can get really deep and really hard stuff. But it's great to reflect on how the logic and reasoning really leads back to an evidence of a Christian worldview.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful kind of argument we can have.
It is, and it's fun.
It is.
But there's lots of rabbit holes.
Right.
So
Yeah, and you have to be careful. You have to be careful of bad philosophy.
That's
the key.
true.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Scripture warns us against that
Exactly.
too. He wants us to have good philosophy and to test these things. And
Right.
so
Test
that's
everything.
good stuff. And that's what we're doing. Hopefully throughout this, we're giving you some material to test out. Just don't take our word for it or Bob's word for it.
Absolutely.
Look into this stuff. Again, I've referenced some of your material before, but it's truehorizon.org where you can find some more of Bob's material. I think a lot of the outline for this confidence course is on there and things like that.
It is.
But we'd love for you to check those out. But we'll be continuing in some of our conversations about this confidence course and evidence for God and our faith and our worldview. And so we hope you continue to tune in and watch these videos. But we thank you for sticking around for these series of videos on the evidence for God's existence. Bob, thanks for walking us through it, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.